Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the GSL Code A Round of 32 Sweden Day.
Sweden Day, man.
Sweden Day today.
Sweden versus Korea. This time it's going to be Thorzain versus YugiOh.
That's right, man. And it's going to be good stuff.
YugiOh's a guy who's played in the GSL a lot, actually.
Yeah, he's actually, he and Czech are the two kind of more experienced players playing today from Korea. Lucky, not too much experience. Sniper was even less. But, yeah, YugiOh has a lot of experience, though. I remember he was one of the guys that, like, even before he was in Code A, you'd be like, oh, who did this good player beat, like, in the finals of his Code A bracket, Code B bracket to get in? Oh, it was, like, YugiOh. He would always get to, like, the final of his, bracket, so he's actually pretty good.
Very true.
So we're going to see what happens there.
But some trivia about YugiOh, he actually did not play the card game. I asked him. He didn't play.
Wow.
I was disappointed.
He just picked 3 random syllables and was like...
Well, he did watch the TV show.
Oh, okay.
But he didn't play the card game. You got to play the game, man.
I thought it was a cartoon first.
I don't actually know. That's actually it's made by Konami. That's all I know.
I thought I was trolling
I watched and then I played the card game and then I won money in tournaments. That's how I did Yu-Gi-Oh, man.
Wow, all right,
man. I don't know about you guys.
I just played the Star Trek customizable card game personally.
I had the Star Wars card game that was really good, but I couldn't figure out the rules exactly. I got it when I was like 5 years old, and then when I was like 10, I tried to get my parents like, we need to sit down and play this game, and they're like, well, this is really complicated, Wolf. I'm like, well, I don't know. I kind of want to play it, but I never got to, and now I don't know where it is. It's probably worth a lot of money now.
I found my old Magic cards the other day, actually.
I never played Magic. But, it seemed really hard.
But like I had some of the like original stuff too, like not the first printing or whatever. I'm like, man, these must be worth so much money. This stuff is like 15 years old. I've had forever. This must be. I asked a friend of mine who's like competitive in Magic, goes to tournaments around the world and stuff, and he's like, actually, most of that stuff is worth like pennies. I'm like, oh. So anyway, but that's beside the point. Because we're going to have a TVZ here coming up in just a minute after we finish getting sidetracked.
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry. If you wanted to talk more about YugiOh,
cool. We just had to talk a little bit about our card games when we were younger. I don't want to say our childhood because I played Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was like 14. What was
the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournament that you won?
I don't remember what it was called, but it was at like a GameStop or Play and Trade or something like that.
There he is, in fact. Slayer's Yu-Gi-Oh! A Zerg player. GSL July Code A round of 16. He got to the round of 16. YugiOh is one of these guys, like I said, he's really good, but he's actually, for a couple seasons now, he's been one of those guys that, like, wins his first match and then loses in the round of 16, and comes back the next season and wins his first match and loses in the round of 16.
Yeah, exactly.
So he hasn't really proven himself as a truly strong player just yet. Lost to Happy, actually, a Terran player last season.
Yeah, he's now in Code S.
Who's now in Code S.
Terran player. Fortunately, he had to run into him.
Yep. So,
remember, this is a very important match for the Korean players as well as the foreigners because this is the round of 32 still. If they lose, they're back into Code B.
Yep.
So Jinro, for example, losing last game, he's not even in the GSL anymore. We didn't really talk about that, but he's out. He's out of there, man.
There is Thorzain. The Korean commentators were trying to figure out how to pronounce his name beforehand. They're like asking me. They're like, is it Thorzain? I'm with Thorzain. I had to teach him to like put his tongue between his teeth to make the TH sound.
It's difficult.
I'm not making fun of him, by the way. I'm just saying, like, the Korean language doesn't have some sounds that English does, so they just don't know. They're not used to making it. So anyway, there's Thorzain, MLG Columbus. He got a seed to Code A from placing high enough in MLG Columbus to be here. In fact, that's how most of the guys got into this, from MLG. Of course, Jinro coming down from Code S. But Thorzain and Naniwa both placed in MLG, and that's how they're here. And Sase actually won a Best of Sweden tournament.
Yes.
He was the first person to beat Naniwa in like 36 matches in the finals of the Rakaka tournament and got here out of that. So anyway, but Thorzain has a really strong chance here, man. He is one of the strongest players in the world outside of Korea, one of the strongest Terrans. Obviously winning, TSL over some really high level,
a very impressive, prestigious win.
Seriously, man. So if anyone has a chance against some of the Koreans, I think Thorzain is one of them. And unfortunately, you know, his TVZ is not his best, so he's kind of got a not as good of an opponent as he could hope for, but he still has it in him, I think. We're going to find out here pretty soon. The first map is going to be Terminus Re. Both players getting ready. And here we go. Let's get into the game in just a moment. Actually, let's take a shot of us first so
hey
we
guys.
can show how excited we are.
Like pretend to be probes.
I'm actually really excited. Here we go. Sometimes we go to transition and I just like shake my head because I'm like, what was I saying there? I'm like, anyway, here is our Zerg player representing Korea, representing the team Slayers. Slayers Sella was not even sure if he was going to win today. Slayers YugiOh. You guys don't get the Street Fighter voice for him, I guess. And here is his opponent, hailing from the mystical land of Sweden, spawning as a blue Terran player.
Thorzain.
Thorzain.
See, the Street Fighter guy doesn't play Yu-Gi-Oh, man.
Eklof, I think.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh's Korean name is Jung Seong-il, in case anyone's curious.
Yeah. It's not Yugi.
No, it's not. But Yu-Gi-Oh is not Korean, actually. Anyway, and Yu-Gi-Oh actually, even though he doesn't have a ton of televised matches, his versus Terran is actually his best matchup. 57% win rate in that, although he hasn't really beaten anyone too strong, so not sure how much that says. You know, like he beat August in Code A couple seasons ago.
Yeah. August is a pretty good player.
He's pretty good. He's not really good.
We used to be in that clan of old Warcraft 3 players called Wera.
Oh, yeah.
That's how he like kind of got his skills up. The clan, of course, no longer exists. Now kind of a newly formed team called Pros that assembled from those old players, and a lot of those guys still around, like Estrella, where you guys may have remembered hearing him. He's still pretty good. He's out there. We might see him again. He always tries to qualify. It's
interesting how a lot of these guys that are mildly successful in StarCraft 2 are from something like that. Like Lucky actually was a actually rather horrible Brood War player. He actually was a Brood War player. I actually looked up the stats earlier. One of his couple wins. Oh wait, maybe I'm thinking of Sniper actually. I should double check that. But I think it was Lucky. One of his couple wins ever. He was like 2-15 in his Brood War career. One of his wins, MC.
Yeah.
When MC played Brood War.
And MC is actually considered to be one of those worst Brood War players.
Yeah, he was really bad in Brood War.
They called him the Suicide Protoss because he was he lost so much.
Anyway, so we got Thorzain walling off, actually at the top of his ramp, which is interesting. I guess he's afraid of shenanigans, afraid of some early pressure. Well, he maybe just wants to hide what's going on.
Yeah, he wants to hide that he's going for a one barracks expand. That's why he made that second depot faster, and that's why he did the little shenanigan with the drone. He pulled the SCV out to scout. Didn't want the SCV to get into his base.
Yeah.
And when you do the build like this, you make your second depot earlier for that reason. You see that in TVP as well. It's very important to not let the Zerg player know what you're doing, because now you guys have to think about all the possibilities. Could be Reactor Hellions, could be a 2-Rax, could be a hidden barracks somewhere. It could be two-port Banshee.
Two-port Banshee.
Could be Cloak Banshee. Who knows?
Could be one-base Battlecruiser Rush.
Could be 4 Marines coming out the pressure and a 1-Rax expand. I think that's what it is going to be.
It could be Planetary Fortress Drop Rush. In case you didn't notice, I'm just making up silly stuff now.
Well, I mean, it's been done.
It has been done. I don't think it's been done in the GSL.
No, it has not been done in a prestigious tournament, but it has been done.
But it has been done. Actually, Diggity and Psionic Reaver, back in the beta, I think, they did a 2v2 game where they did a double Planetary Fortress Rush.
Did it work?
It worked, man. It worked. It was so epic. I think Diggity put it as like his thousandth video on YouTube or whatever to like celebrate. He did like the most epic video ever.
Well, what's interesting about the Planetary Fortress Rush is that back in the beta, people didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to react to it, stop it. Nice, gets that Zerling. But now, I mean, it's very obvious. Like, for those of you guys who are out there, if you ever experienced Planetary Fortress Rush or you're a newer player and you struggle with this, the best way to stop Planetary Fortress Rush is to put an SCV under it. He can't ever land it. Oh, what happens then?
Oh no, his Marines get trapped outside. He does at least lift the depots though, so the Zerglings will not get in, but he does lose a few Marines that he did not want to lose early on. He was kind of keeping those Marines on the ramp so they could block scouts, but it, you know, ended up being a bad thing for him.
Yeah, he didn't expect YugiOh to make that many Zerglings. Now the third command center, third hatchery going down, and a macro hatchery. So YugiOh 4 hatcheries going to be coming out soon.
Wow.
Does lose this Overlord, though. Oh!
No, 14.
I spoke too soon. 2 more volleys would have done it, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there's that macro hatch. Now, does he... He's got... Can you check that? What's going on? He's got 2 factories, right?
Yeah.
And is he researching anything right now?
No, he hasn't gotten Blue Flame yet.
Okay, so he's just got 2 factories. He's making Hellions, but he's not researching. That's kind of odd.
Yeah, this is a little bit odd. Now, I wonder if it's a mistake. I don't think it's a mistake. He's researching siege mode.
Tech now.
Yeah,
okay.
so he wanted to get siege mode out. He wanted to kind of take... I think he wants to take a fast third, do it and secure that with siege tanks. Didn't want to commit to that Blue Flame yet. He's not making that many Hellions, just being very aggressive for the ones that he has. Well, he's actually not being as aggressive as he could be. Now he's moving out with them. I knew he was going to do it. I knew he had it in his mind.
I thought it was interesting that he got 2 factories that he was researching stim and getting Hellions.
Yeah, it was
anyway,
a little bit weird.
Maybe it'll all come together. I feel like maybe this is some kind of a build that like has a point where it comes together at like some kind of a 2-base timing or something like that.
Well,
because I mean, you don't need the Blue Flame for Hellions to be good against Zerglings.
It's starting to come together now as you see these 3 barracks being added
nice.
here. Nice little wall off at the front.
He's gonna have 4 barracks and 2 factories after that. That'll be a nice, nice production set for making two tanks and a bunch of Marines at the same time.
Exactly, and he's gonna start combat shields as soon as that stim finishes.
Yeah.
So you can start getting a lot of Marines out. So he's basically going Marine tank with a few Hellions to start with. Uh-oh. It looks so weird to see red flames coming out of Hellions now. I'm serious, dude. Did you like look at that and see what like think the same as me? I was like, whoa, are those red? I like saw that. I was like, oh my god.
Oh man, that's
There's
funny.
red flames coming out of those Hellions. You just don't see that every day, man.
They should just like have the default be blue, and you have to do like a downgrade to get red.
Well, they only recently changed the icon.
That's right. That was your doing.
That's what I was told. I heard Blizzard like heard me complaining about it, and they actually changed it because of me. Like I'm the reason why it was changed. Yeah.
Who told you that?
You did, man.
I was just joking.
Oh, you were joking?
Yeah, I didn't like talk.
I don't know.
To
You were always talking about
it.
talking to Blizzard. I'm like, well, I don't know. Mole Trap told me Blizzard did it because of me. I was like,
no. I had just drawn that connection from the fact that you were complaining about the icon,
okay.
and then like 3 weeks later the patch changed it or whatever.
oh, okay. I thought you were actually serious.
I don't know.
Like finding out this truth here at the GSL, like on air.
The Blizzard, by the way, shout out to the guys at Blizzard.
Yeah.
Every one of them that I talked to they were just a bunch of really cool guys.
I talked
really
to some of those guys here. They're great.
And like they like watch GSL and they're like totally down to earth and fun guys to hang out with. Anyway, the Zerglings are going to break down those rocks. Thorzain doesn't have really much of a defense at the southern part of his base for these Zerglings, but it looks like he wants to move out. He needs to take care of those Zerglings before he does.
I think he's got combat shields now. He hasn't made a command center. I think he wants to hit a timing attack.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's missing his timing window. I think I mean, I'm trying to fully understand what Thorzain is doing because he's doing a style that's kind of older and it's not something we really see that much of the GSL anymore. And he hasn't made a 3rd command center. He's adding more barracks, and so he's definitely looking to do some sort of timing attack.
He's going to have to do it freaking soon, man,
Yeah.
because YugiOh has 4 bases.
He's got 4 bases. He's got his Spire on the way. He's making a ton of Banelings, or Zerglings. He's going to be making Banelings soon. His Baneling speed's halfway done.
Yeah, and
He's already got
Thorzain-
+1.
It looks like Thorzain's posturing to take the 3rd outside of his main, which is...
Well, it's possible. You know, he's just moving forward very slowly. He's got an armory on the way here. I guess he's going to make some Thors, leave those at home to deal with Muleless counterattacks.
Yeah.
But he's just doing this so slowly. I think he's actually just going to push towards Yu-Gi-Oh's main
He's
like
just
this.
going to do like an actual slow push.
Yeah.
Instead of like, most turns are like, I'm going to slow push, and they like A-move their army all the way across the map, and then like slow push from right outside, which is fine if the Zerg doesn't attack you, obviously, but sometimes it's risky. Anyway, he's coming up on the creep though, so...
Yeah, now Yu-Gi-Oh's going to know what's going on. Yu-Gi-Oh! Being very patient about this, and I like this move by Thorzain. It's very unusual. It's not the style that you see in Korea.
Yeah. Definitely bringing his own style in here.
Look at how many Zerglings that is, though. That's why he has to be so slow, because if these tanks ever get caught on siege, bad things will happen. Now, behind this, Thorzain is finally taking his 3rd base. Those 2 barracks that he made in his main have kicked in, so he's got a lot of extra production here.
And it looks like he might just be, you know, I'm so used to, like you said, like he's got a different style. The Korean style would be like doing drops and like all that kind of stuff. Thorzain's like, I'm just going to slowly push out here. and just be really methodical about it. I'm not going to risk losing a bunch of Marines to a drop.
Well, he's killing a ton of creep tumors out in the middle of the map right now as well. With every scan, he gets like 6 of them.
There's the Mutalisks flying around. A few kind of getting caught in the middle of the map, actually, by some Marines who are still picking off creep tumors. And they are going to dispatch those few Marines, and maybe the medevac. Yes, he does lose that medevac. And maybe a tank, actually. It might be too spread out here, actually.
Yeah, forces a stim.
Here's
There's
the thing.
So many banelings being morphed right now.
Thorzain is going really light on the medevacs. He's only made a couple. So every time he stims a group of units like that, it's actually a lot worse than it would be normally.
Yeah, and YugiOh is preparing for this. He's actually got units set up in 3 different locations. He's got them over at the top left. He's sending some down around the bottom right. He can snort some. Watch out, Muta's running into Marines. Got to be very careful about that.
Thorzain and YugiOh almost dead even on supply. YugiOh. Now here's the thing, Thorzain, because of the way he's doing this, he could take a 4th really easily if he wants to. So that's kind of good the way that this is working. Right now it's 3 bases to 4, so he's not terribly far behind because he has those mules.
Oops, there's a Marine there. Trying to hold those watchtowers as he pushes. But
smart.
I like this. The Muta's in the coming domain. He's just abusing the fact that Thorzain is so spread out. All of his units are out of his base. Despite the fact that Thorzain, hold that thought, Zerling's running into Chief's tank fire. Nice move by Thorzain trying to bait those, but losing a medevac.
Medevac gets caught, and here's the thing is, the way Thorzain's set up, he's like controlling the towers and he's controlling the middle, but it means that these Mutalisks have a whole big open area between his main and his forces that they can like kind of dance around in and do things like just pick off that medevac.
Oh, Thors are out. And he's got +1 on these Thors, of course, with tanks as well, so that makes every shot that much more potent. Thorzain doing a great job with these little squads. Even though he may lose some of the Marines, it's important to kill those creep tumors.
He's actually sitting right on top of the creep tumor that he hasn't gotten yet. He'll probably realize that soon, though. Thors are out, though, so it's going to make those Marines. Actually, hold that thought. Some Marines getting caught off guard here by some Zerglings.
It's like a mini battle over the watchtower, and Thorzain can hold it with just a few Marines because every time the Zerglings come down, the tanks just destroy everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really cool how he's controlled that.
And this is really good by Thorzain. He's picking off this side hatchery, now using the fact that YugiOh's a little spread out to his advantage, but the Mutas are fast enough to get over there.
Lost a decent amount of Mutas though in that fight. That was a really good engagement for Thorzain, killing all the drones there.
Yeah.
64 SCVs to 71 drones at this point. Well, I hold that thought. That was 16 drones in production, so now it's at 87.
Oh my goodness.
22 banelings being morphed. And Thorzain, I like this style. YugiOh can't really abuse him because he's got the watchtowers. You can see whenever the Mutas run around. Like, for example, these Mutas that are trying to sneak around have been spotted. The Marines are already reacting. +2 on those Mutas is on the way. I was going to say he needs to get that pretty soon so he can do more with these Mutas.
Yep. He is kind of low on his Marine count, though, so he might have to be a little bit worried. These Marines engage in the Mutas. And whoa, look at that. Muta's forced back with the reinforcements coming in, and there was like a few Marines that barely had any health left. So bad engagement again for YugiOh, losing another Mutalisk. He's down to about 10 Mutalisks at this point.
6 more in production. He's got to be very careful how he balances his unit production right now. +3 weapons on the way for Thorzain, +1 armor. This is for his infantry, of course. He hasn't started +2 at his armory just yet.
What's the armor for YugiOh's ground units?
He's got +1 Carapace.
Wow.
And yeah.
And he's not researching Carapace right now, so +3 weapons against +1 Zerglings is just gonna own face.
Own face.
And own everything else about the Zerglings. Here comes those Mutas trying to come in here. He's built up a few more. He's gonna be able to do some damage because all of Thorzain's forces are out in front. I'm surprised he didn't do this before, actually.
Yeah, he just wasn't doing this as much as he should have been earlier.
And Thorzain really needs like a Thor back in his main right now to stop this. Hold that thought in the front of the base. An attack going in, and it just died. Bunch of Marines went down there.
Yeah, it was about 12 Marines in a medevac that died there.
So YugiOh kind of getting a couple victories there, taking out some depots, taking out a lot of Marines in the front. Although Thorzain is almost max, so it's really not that big of a deal for him to lose that actually.
Uh-oh, drones transferring into death.
Oh no.
As mutas fly into death as well.
Yeah.
Two bad things happening at once for YugiOh.
YugiOh kind of falling apart a little bit.
Yeah, Thorzain finally started to be more harassment oriented because he's got such a good position in the middle of the map.
Yeah. And he's maxed,
focus
so
on that. And uh-oh,
oh no.
this hatchery over here on the right side could go down. 47 hit points left.
Whoa.
And my computer lagged like crazy there for a second.
That was nuts. He needs to go finish that off, man.
He does.
And charging in the front as well. Take out some more drones. I don't know why YugiOh keeps... I don't know if he's transferring them or if he's like trying to get rid of them. And here comes a bunch of Baneleys. He's going to try and break out. There's a ton of tanks and Thor's here though. A bunch of Marines in the back. Thorzain's defense is just so multi-tiered. He's going to kill the front line, but he's never going to break this this defense by Thorzain right now. Actually, maybe with those infestors.
But, I mean...
Yeah, just not enough.
It's not enough. There's a planetary here. I mean, he did a lot of damage, though. He traded armies pretty efficiently.
That's true. That actually went better for him than I thought.
And he was able to drop 3 Marines and kill the hatchery, but those drones...
Oh my God.
Those drones are like, that was my hatchery! Get out of here! We don't serve like, your kind here. Medevac gets them out of there.
Usually it's drones running away from Marines, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's part of why... That's interesting. There's part of why Thorzain lost so much there. A lot of his Marines were in his main defending the mutas, so they weren't able to partake in that attack.
YugiOh keeps donating Zerglings at that Xel'Naga Death Trap. That's what I'm going to call it, the Xel'Naga Death Trap there.
Death
needs
Tower.
to be very careful with how he controls those units there.
And Thorzain's finally going to bring those, well, not finally, but he's going to bring those Marines back out of his main. Again, it's going to leave his main a little bit less defended, but...
But he's killed so many mutas, there's only 5 left.
Yeah,
so it's a smart time to move them out.
He can hold out with turrets with that, so that's fine. And Thorzain taking a 5th. He's going to planetary that up.
Yeah, he's in a really good spot. And now all he needs to do is slowly push his tanks forward again. Yeah. Make sure he doesn't lose any crazy battles. He's got +2 vehicle weapons on the way finally. He's got +2 armor on the way. Adding more Thors, adding additional factories and barracks. Thorzain looking really strong here. YugiOh in a tough spot. He's making 4 infestors. He's trying to get hive tech as he remakes hatcheries around the base, on the edge of the map. But he's in a bad way right now.
Burrowed infestors creeping
like
their
sharks,
way.
Man. Here
they are
come.
like sharks, man. This is gonna be. He actually doesn't have that many infested Terrans there or anything. I saw a game yesterday where who was that? Idra? Or who, I don't remember who. It was Idra versus someone. We're watching at the GOM house. Someone with like 8 burrowed infestors and cast like 20 infested Marines.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
Took out a hatchery
I saw
really
that.
quick.
Yeah.
He's just gonna do some harassment though. Force those SCVs back a little bit. Good move.
Catching some Marines here at the Watchtower. This is the Xel'Naga Death Trap. This is the planetary Death Trap Xel'Naga Watchtower. It's next to a planetary.
I think it was Idra versus Cats.
Yeah, it was.
That's what it was.
Yeah, someone showed us a replay and we watched that. It was his EVZ.
Yes, indeed. So wow, so Thorzain actually is in really good shape right now. He's he's maxed. He's got a big bank. He's got 5 bases. YugiOh's at 150 supply. He's going to lose this hatchery on the right side again. And...
well, yep. And in fact, these Zerglings aren't even really going to clean this up very easily. Only when the Broodlings came out. And infested Terrans trying to do what they can there at the planetary. That didn't quite work out. YugiOh is in such bad shape. He's got 3,000 gas in the bank, but he doesn't have a lot of minerals, and that's because Thorzain just keeps killing his mineral mining bases.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. He's like, oh, I'm going to push in your main, I'm going to push in your main, I'm going to push in your main. Actually, I'm going to stop just short of your main and kill all your side bases instead.
Yeah.
And now he's done that enough, though, that he is starting to get very close to YugiOh's main.
He's at the edge of the main.
And again, he's just got like layers of tanks and Marines just going back with Thors mixed in. It's just going to be so hard for him to actually get back there. There is a greater Spire morphing that Thorzain does not know about.
And those 2 things are what he needs, but it may be too little too late, given that he's down 50 supply, and there's going to be Marines running into his 3rd base and into his tech buildings before he can really get good neurals or get Broodlords out.
What tech buildings are in that 3rd?
At the 3rd base, well, there's no tech buildings at the 3rd, but I think
he gets in the natural,
he's gonna run over there and draw the force over there and probably drop into the main and kill tech structures. And
he's actually pushing forward in the main here. YugiOh
He's starting to drop.
He doesn't have his Neural yet. He doesn't have Greater Spire yet. So this is kind of like with Jinro, where he got the tech just a little bit too early for Jinro to deal with. At this point, YugiOh is going to get a little bit too late. Dropping the side base again. YugiOh is just not able to mine with all this harassment. Nice fungal in those Marines, but the tanks are shelling units in his main. His Bailey Nest is going to go down. And is he going to lose his hatchery? Infested Terrans, Zerglings say no.
The hatchery stays alive with 163 hit points left.
But he actually kills a macro hatch in the main anyway.
Yeah, and these Infested Terrans are not very energy efficient.
Wow.
Trying their best to hold off here.
And, Marine barely takes out that Infestor. Queen gets it. But Thorzain is just everywhere, man.
Yeah, I think
he's
this
got
game's
units
gonna end pretty
everywhere on the map. He's got them all over YugiOh's main base. YugiOh's desperately trying to fight things off, but it's just like there's nothing you do. Oh, he's gonna. Oh, that was painful to watch. That was a lot of Marines dying to that one fungal. But
Broodlords are out.
There we go, finally.
And that's what YugiOh has been waiting for and hoping for. But look at this. 4 Vikings already prepared. The Infestors have already used up all of their energy or have been killed.
Yeah.
And these Broodlords are going to have to retreat now. The only thing standing in the way of the Vikings is like one lonely queen.
If he'd gotten all that tech a little bit earlier, he would have had the Infestors to stop the Vikings from killing his Broodlords. He would have the Broodlords earlier. He wouldn't have lost all of his main.
Exactly.
But it just came out too late, and I think even though he's kind of fending this off, I think Thorzain is just in too commanding of a lead right now. He's getting up like a 7th base, I think.
And these Broodlords are moving very slowly.
6th base.
He's going to have to go and try to target down these tanks. Thorzain can move back, regroup, get more Vikings out. And he's in a pretty good spot. The problem is those Broodlords are never going to help defend the bases on the right side of the map that YugiOh needs. And Thorzain can just go harass those whenever he wants.
Yeah, and even though it looks like on the minimap he's got a lot of bases, he's only mining at like one of them. No, I'm sorry, 2 of them. He's mining at 2 of them, and he does not have that many drones anyway, so he's just kind of... Yeah, well, actually, he's got a good amount of drones with those 2. But point being, he doesn't have much money. Oh, man, these Infestors are kind of running out.
You got to be very careful with those Infestors. The Broodlords are going to start sieging up. Sounds weird to say, sieging up on siege tanks. That's pretty much what they're doing here. The Vikings, though, are prepared, and they're starting to do some serious damage. Losing this refinery, not too impactful. Thorzain splitting his Vikings, and Neural parasiting a Viking. That's interesting. Well, whatever works, I mean, I guess. There he goes, bungling now, but the last Broodlord falls. Now these Infestors are going to be taken out. I don't think YugiOh is going to be in this game much longer.
No,
Ghost
man.
Academy goes down. He's going to use that not only for EMPing Infestors, but also for snipe.
And it's interesting, actually. It seems like a very late Ghost Academy, to be honest, with all these Infestors that have been out. But, is this hatchery going to go down? Infested Terran versus regular Terran. Hatchery at 150.
Cheating, man. He's got Viking support. He's got medevac support, so the Zerg cheats and brings out the Zerglings.
Oh, and that Viking looks like got killed by Zerglings, but yeah, now Thorzain is even sieging those right side bases, and look at it. Yeah, that
hatchery's not
bottom right hatchery's about to go down. Drones transferring through tank fire.
YugiOh's all but dead. Thorzain has got the entire
pretty much dead.
He's got entire control of the map.
Yeah.
Every time YugiOh tries to move around, he's walking into siege tanks.
Yeah.
It's like walking through a minefield, actually.
This is really interesting, though. I mean, it's interesting to see a different style come in here. And what do you think? I mean, was it? Do you think that like YugiOh just didn't know how to deal with it?
Well, that may be it, but it was just so patient by Thorzain. It was so well executed.
Yeah.
He just never got ahead of himself. He was always so patient. He always cleared out the creep, and
that's true.
I mean, it was very unusual, but it's very good.
No, you're right. It was super patient. Like, you know, like we said, the Korean Terrans will just do all kinds of drops and stuff, try and beat everyone at once and harass early on. Thorzain's like, nope, I'm just going to expand.
And then later he did do all that stuff.
Yeah, later once he was maxed.
Once the mutas were gone as well. Once he knew the mutas were going to be gone, that's when he did a nice Viking splitting here.
Splitting his Vikings, beautiful.
And there's not even enough energy on those Infestors. They're trying to drop Infested Terrans to deal with the Vikings. And look at this,
and the
Ghosts.
Knocking
Ghosts
out
make
those
pretty
Infested
quick work of that.
Yeah.
Every single Zerg unit is biological, so Ghosts can snipe Broodlords, Infestors, Zerglings if they wanted to, Overseers, Overlords.
That's right.
Broodlings on the ground.
Oh no, the planetary might go down. He needs to repair it. Oh no! He just wasn't paying attention there. It doesn't actually matter at this point, though. Thorzain is almost double Yu-Gi-Oh's supply. He is more than double. He's got 3 times the income that Yu-Gi-Oh has.
And he's sieging up his main.
And he's sieging up his main.
Yep.
Yu-Gi-Oh is putting up a very valiant, desperate defense.
It's almost like Thorzain's being too patient at this point with his siege push forward.
All he has to do is drop that right side base, and Yu-Gi-Oh isn't mining.
Exactly. I mean, he's long distance mining anywhere else. And look at that sniping going off. Look at how many ghosts that is.
Oh, sniping. Oh, nice. Scans to spot them. Snipes. Fungal goes down on the ghosts, but they still have enough health to snipe that. Snipe everything, basically. Look at that mass ghost. Thorzain is just mocking Yu-Gi-Oh at this point almost.
Yeah, this is pretty silly.
He's like, hey, I can do whatever I want. Let's have some fun with ghosts.
Well, ghosts are actually appropriate to make in this case, but usually not that many. But it's just like a sign of like, well, he has so many ghosts that the game is pretty much over. And you know, he's getting into the main. Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't have any answer for this. His supply is 61. Half of that is in drones. Basically, he's got a few infestors around, dropping infested Terrans. That's all he's got left. Thorzain playing so patiently, though. And like I was saying, maybe almost too patiently at this point. Now he's carefully running his Marines in.
The tech buildings. Infestation pit goes down. Greater Spire is going to go down.
Yeah, he's got
two. That is going to seal it. That means that there's no chance of him coming back.
There's 2 Broodlords in the main. They're going to take out this last Marine. And then I think the ghosts are going to have their way with them. There's like ghosts.
By which you mean snipe them, right?
Yes. And there's like there's ghosts like killing an extractor over here. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you guys. This game is over.
This game is long over.
The Broodlords actually the ghosts aren't going to get to have their way with them because the Vikings were like, all right, I heard there was a Broodlord problem over here. Let me take care of that.
The one Brood infestor's like, ha! One infested Terran.
And the ghost used snipe on it.
All he really did was give himself away so that Thorzain could scan and take it out.
Yeah, he scanned and he used snipe on that infested Terran that had.
Really?
He used snipe on it. Then he sniped the infested that had like 10 hit points left. I mean, he's got like full energy on about 15 ghosts over here, so.
Oh my goodness. Now, the only thing I can think of is, okay, Yu-Gi-Oh has like a second base up now that's mining a little bit.
Well, all right, well, here's the thing.
The only thing I can think of is this. What if Yu-Gi-Oh is like, all right, I play way more than Thorzain does. Let me tire him out because I've got more endurance.
I mean, that's definitely what his plan is here. The only way that Yu-Gi-Oh could win this game, though, is if he burrowed about 8 Banelings in a very well-spread area, and Thorzain just happened to have every unit he owned standing on top of the area, and then Yu-Gi-Oh pressed X, then Thorzain might maybe lose.
I don't think he would even lose.
I don't think so. Maybe though, it's possible. Right now, it's just not possible.
He would have to stack up all of his units and all of his SCVs and all of his orbitals on that spot.
Yeah, exactly. Somehow. I don't know, man. Well, this infested Terran harassment is is continuing. He is gonna do a little bit of damage to that orbital. There's Zerlings running around. And he's still, like you said, he was able to secure that hatchery. He's no longer long distance mining from that one base. He's got 2 hatcheries up. He's got a 3rd hatchery that's not mining. More ghost killing extractors here.
He's got, Yu-Gi-Oh has 2 bases mining, and finally the GG as the Vikings land at his mining base, and he's got no units to defend.
I mean,
Thorzain
crushes through that game.
The Swede takes out the Korean Yu-Gi-Oh! And one of the stronger Koreans playing today also.
Yeah.
In game 1. Nicely done. Nicely done. There's Yu-Gi-Oh going like, what just happened, man? He's like looking over his shoulder. He's like, what's going on?
Well, Thorzain's style was just so patient. He did such a good job with it. I mean, we joked around about that game. Made it sound like Thorzain was like making fun of him. It's only because he didn't GG.
Yeah.
The game had been long over.
Yeah, exactly.
But Thorzain at the earlier stages of the game. At the beginner stage where like you're building depots and stuff, you don't have to micro. At the beginner stage, Thorzain was playing very passively, very carefully and patiently. And then later he showed this multitasking was quite good. He was dropping in several different locations at once as he pushed his tanks forward. He got the Vikings out just in time.
You know, it's true. Like, even from the very beginning of the game, like, he's like, I'm going to make a wall off at my ramp, even though it's Terminus. Like, I'm just going to be that safe and that careful and that patient, and I'm not going to move out until I can put 3 barracks at my choke to block anything that could possibly happen. I'm going to, like, tier my siege tanks all the way across the map, and just did it slow and methodical. And, you know, I wonder if maybe, I don't know, do you think YugiOh underestimated that patience? Because I feel like he might have, if he realized how slow he was moving, he might have been able to even take more of the map earlier.
He should have had a greater Spire earlier. That's really the bottom line. There's no other way to deal with that patient, slow push than having Broodlords.
That's a good point.
And he just got the Broodlords way too late. Like, he was already, the units were already on top of his base, and he was making his first Broods, and there were already Vikings out. And
that's
it was like,
true. That's actually really true. That's what killed him, was that he had that high tech too late.
Yeah.
He had the Neural and the Broodlords.
Yeah, you can't break it without that.
After he was under siege. So, yeah, that's you're right. He should have realized, like, oh, this is a big fat mech push. I need to get Broodlords for that.
Yeah, you got to be very, very careful about dealing with mech. And YugiOh was, like, he was like, oh, I see what you're trying to do. I'm just going to avoid it. He donated a lot of Zerlings to the Xel'Naga Death Trap. He did. I mean, that one siege tank next to the watchtower probably had over 100 kills because there was one Marine sitting on the watchtower and then like 8 Zerlings or like 80 Zerlings go in.
Free Marine!
Like, I want this watchtower, and then like 18 siege tanks shoot all the Zerlings, they'll blow up and die. It's like, well, gotta be careful about that, Yu-Gi-Oh.
And it's like Zerglings, they must have like, you know, the memory of like a goldfish. So like they see their compatriots run in and die, and they're like, oh man, let's not go over there. And they're like, oh look, a bird. Oh look, a free Marine.
Yeah, that happened a lot. So that's one thing that didn't go as well as you would have liked. I think controlling the map better and getting faster, greater Spire would have been the things that he really could have improved on in that game. But he played well. He didn't play badly. It's a style that you don't normally see in Korea. It's very passive, slow push, and then later he got him into this passive mode, and then he started doing all these drops after he cleaned up the mutas. After the mutas died, why not do drops everywhere?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He killed off all the mutas, and he's like, all right, well, now I've got the map. Do whatever I want. So Thorzain takes out game 1, man. And took it out.
Like, he was like, can I get this to go? And they were like, yes. Like, I don't pay extra. And he grabbed it, and he left.
That's right, man. He put that in a paper bag and went and ate it at his house.
Yeah, he did. He was watching some GSL at his house while he was eating it.
Watching some GSL at his house eating it. He didn't even have to sit in the restaurant and eat that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Crossfire is going to be the next map.
He's excited. Which is like
which is like the perfect map for like a slow, steady style as well.
Yeah, this is actually the better map to do this on. It's not a wide open map. It's very difficult for the Zerg to kind of avoid the push.
Yeah.
So let's jump into the game right now.